So after the release and somewhat success of Watch Dogs, Ubisoft decided to do the most logical thing. No, not make a sequel, make DLC. Because what would a game be nowadays without DLC? However, they decided to try something different. Instead of focusing the DLC on the continuing adventures of Aiden Pierce, they gave the DLC to a secondary character, T-Bone Grady, who was by far the best character in the original Watch Dogs. And, well, something quite odd happened. The DLC for Watch Dogs was somehow better than the game itself. With that being said, how they hangin' down, dudes? It's me, the Media Raptor, and welcome to Watch Dogs Month. I have been waiting for this month for a long time. I've been waiting to do this for quite a while, and I finally feel like we're able to. So if you can't tell by the title or just by what's going on, this month we're going to be taking a look at my all-time, hands-down favorite video game franchise, second maybe only to Mortal Kombat. And that being said, I think it's at this point, whoever comes out with a sequel first will become my favorite franchise. And we're going to start... Yes, I know, I've already reviewed the original Watch Dogs. I have something planned for that. Oh wait, I'm not full yet. We're going to start by taking a look at DLC released for the 2014 game Watch Dogs with Watch Dogs Bad Blood. Now, just from the trailer alone, you can kind of get an idea that there's something quite different about this. And it does something that all good DLC should. Why is this lid so hard to get on? Sorry. See, to me, what all good DLC should do is the following. 1. Continue the story. 2. Expand the characters. 3. World build. Bad Blood knocks all three of those right out of the park. It's set a few months after the events of the original Watch Dogs, and T-Bone is deciding he needs to get the heck out of Dodge. And, you know, after the event with Lucky Quinn and shutting down CCOS and just everything that could go wrong going wrong, yeah, it kind of makes sense that he'd want to get out. However, the night he is going to leave, well, he wakes up with a phone call from his own friend Frewer, who many of you might remember as the crazy drug addict looking character who you could buy explosives from in the original Watch Dogs.
There's gotta be something you need.
So it turns out, yeah, some people kidnapped him. And T-Bone has to save him. Now if you think that's going to be the whole DLC, you are totally wrong, my friend. From there, we continue an entire crazy mystery trying to figure out who would kidnap Frewer of all characters, because, well, he isn't really that important, or so we think, and why is this happening now? And as the DLC continues... Okay, before I continue actually, spoiler alert. I'll tell you when... But major spoilers here. I'm going to be giving away pretty much the entire story, or at least several of the big plot twists. I will tell you when, and I will tell you where you can skip to, but if you don't want to be spoiled because you want to play the DLC for yourself, it's something I highly recommend. Just, I'll tell you ahead of time. And so T-Bone has to figure out what's going on, and how he can stop this and finally move on from his past. So, much like Watch Dogs, the DLC is broken into several acts. Where Watch Dogs there was about 6 or 7, here there's only 3. The entire DLC, should you choose to skip all the side missions, side quests, and just power through it, even if you choose to skip all the cutscenes, which I wouldn't recommend, I'll get to why in a minute, you could probably be done in just under 3 hours. I took a while longer. I took a long time playing it the first time through because I wanted to do everything, and when I was recording it, yeah, it took me about just over 3.5 hours because I did play some of the side missions to level up a lot faster, get some skill points, better weapons, and it's something I wanted to do was pay more attention to what they were saying. The first time I was just like, yay, Watch Dogs, let's just go, and I was just excited to see where it was going to go. Then I paid a lot more attention the second time through, and you notice a lot of things. See, one thing that a lot of people pointed out in the original Watch Dogs is that the story seemed very disconnected in some scenes, how there seemed to be a lot of things which had happened that would have been great if we knew it happened, or a scene had happened, or they talked about more it happening, instead of just saying, yeah, this happened. Well, Bad Blood is here to actually do that. We get to see a lot of what happens, or at least a lot of what T-Bone has done, before, well, we don't see it, but he does describe it in great detail, and after the events of Watch Dogs. In fact, many of you may remember that in, I believe it was 2002, I'm just going to check this. If you guys remember in 2003, not everyone will know this because it didn't affect everyone, there was a massive blackout. It was called the Northeast Blackout of 2003. It affected mostly Canada and some parts of the United States. See, Watch Dogs actually quite brilliantly uses that. And they even do go as far as to mention the fact that people did die in one scene, stating,
11 people died. Lindsay Garcia, Jeremy Connors. You want more? Because I can list them all for you.
So we know that T-Bone has messed up in the past, and you start to think, okay, maybe this is all happening because somebody wants revenge. Well, it then comes down to a few missions that really start to make things clearer. Bad Medicine is one, which for those of you who played Human Conditions and Watch Dogs 2, you'll notice that was one of the mission titles. Nice reference. There's Bad Medicine, Hold the Line, Final Verdict, and perhaps the most important mission in the entire game, Ghosts. Now, spoiler alert, if you don't want to be spoiled, go to this time right here. And also mature content warning, this is going to get dark.
All these guys are geared up and ready for trouble.
As I mentioned, people died in that blackout. T-Bone is technically responsible for the deaths of 12 people. And in the mission Ghosts, you have no choice but to walk through a building with mannequins being horribly mutilated in some pretty disturbing ways. And T-Bone is forced to remember the people he killed. Why is all this happening? Because of Default. You guys remember Default, that DJ you take down in the first game? Yes, he is alive. In fact, just watch this real quick. Yeah. That explains that it was a body double. You didn't kill the real Default if you chose to kill him back in Watch Dogs. Now the thing is, it turns out that his brother was in a hospital on a suicide watch list when the blackout hit. And because of that, his brother escaped and did commit suicide. And Default blames T-Bone for his brother's death.
They called it suicide! But he was on watch until you cut the power and let him out! You murdered him! Murderer! Murderer!
It's a pretty dark and depressing scene, and it's even worse when you see how badly T-Bone feels about it, when you see his reaction to essentially being accused of being a straight-up terrorist. John Tench really sells it.
Investigators have confirmed Raymond Kenny, an ex-Bloom Industries employee, is responsible for the blackout, which has resulted in 11 confirmed deaths. Kenny's motivations are as of yet unknown, and Bloom has
No! No! It's all bullshit! That's not the way it went down at all, you twisted psychopathic fuck! Is this how you get off? Well, fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
So one thing which Bad Blood does amazingly is it gives you a villain who actually you understand his motives. Yes, he goes way too far. But Default has reason to be angry. Default has a reason to be upset. He has a reason to be unhinged. He goes way, 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 way too far. But compared to, say, Lucky Quinn or Iraq in the original Watch Dogs, he's a genuinely threatening villain because he has motive, he has reason, and you see he has the willingness to do anything to get to T-Bone.
But you're growing as a person, Ray.
Eat shit, Default! Sam Jennings.
Let's talk about this.
Oh, we will! When I find you.
See, Ray, I'm an artist too.
Stuff like that, that kind of world building, that kind of character expanding, that makes this head and shoulders above the original Watch Dogs, which I loved. I think Aiden is a great character, but something I noticed upon further playthroughs, Aiden doesn't really seem to realize he's screwing everything up for everyone else around him. He doesn't seem to understand that a lot of what he does gets a lot of innocent people hurt or killed, including his own family caught in the crossfire. T-Bone makes it quite clear that he knows. That's why he's been running, that's why he's been hiding. And it all leads to an honestly powerful ending. You see, in the final mission, Final Verdict, and I know I'm skipping over most of the missions in this game because I don't want to spoil everything, but I need to explain why this is so good. In Final Verdict, you have to fight your way through an entire base full of bad guys, finally coming face to face with Default and the families of the people you killed. Default gives them a choice. They can turn off their screens if they want Ray to live, or they can stay if they want to see how it plays out. And Ray, he does probably the last thing you'd expect. He admits he was wrong. He says, honestly, probably the right thing to say, that he understands that he messed up. He understands he deserves this. But he also knows they don't. It actually has come to a question that I myself have asked and been asked many times. If someone you cared for was taken from you and you had the chance to exact revenge, even kill the person who did it, would you? And the thing is, T-Bone might be the good guy when compared to the other characters in this DLC, when compared to the Chicago South Club or the Pawnee Militia. But the really sad reality is he kind of isn't the good guy. When you really look at it, he kind of is a bad guy in a way. He never meant for anyone to get hurt. He never meant for that. But people still did. And I'm not going to spoil how the DLC ends, even though probably with what I've shown you, you can either get a pretty good assumption or you can just go look it up online. But it's a very satisfying ending, with a very happy ending, actually. We get to see that things are going to turn out for the better, probably. And I've just spoiled the ending there. So let's talk about the game itself. Gameplay, they've added new things to the gameplay, and that's, again, something that is something DLC should do, is add new things to do, new types of gameplay. And they did. Several missions involve you being able to use awesome new mechanics, such as grenade launcher and machine-mounted security cameras. By the way, that mission is awesome. And my favorite mission being Hold the Line, where you have to fight off waves upon waves of enemies by using T-Bone's house. And if you thought it was awesome in the original Watch Dogs, you have not seen anything yet. It truly is entertaining, chaotic, and a ton of fun to play. We have new missions such as, well, rescue missions, we have download missions, we have missions where you're not allowed to kill anyone and you have to knock them down. We still have the returning of like gang bases and stuff like that, and they are mostly just sort of there as a side mission, but you can use them as a way to get skill points really fast to make you even stronger, and that's how you get new outfits. Yes, you still have to choose an outfit and it changes the entire thing for you, unlike Watch Dogs 2, but you can at least change them and they do look pretty cool. If you're not noticing, I'm wearing the jacket. Because let me tell you, the jacket T-Bone wears is one of the coolest in all of gaming. Although I did notice this. Hang on. So, I met John Tench. He's a great guy at Fan Expo. The thing he's wearing in this picture, it has the Dead Fish logo, and it has the virus patch. I have that shirt as well. I'll be wearing it later this month. It does not have the virus patch. They messed up on this picture, and this is what they used for promotion for the DLC. That is both hilarious and kind of sad, but it's really minor and petty, and it's just something a guy like me who's a super fan of this would notice. But anyhow, let me just put this back. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So we still got a whole bunch of fun stuff to do, and once you've done the game, there are still things you can do. There are new online co-op missions, which Can be kind of hard because not a lot of people have this, so I did manage to get the trophy, which I was happy about because I just sat down with one dude and we just powered through 10 missions. You can still do online racing. You have a little RC car which would come back in Watch Dogs 2 as a sort of a wheel drone, sort of less than an actual RC car.
Bam!
And you do get investigations. Similar to what they were in the original Watch Dogs, but this time they kind of add a little bit more. You start to find out more about characters who seemed like they were nothing in the first game. You start to find out more about Default, more about DedSec. And it really does build onto these characters. In fact, I'm not going to say how, why, or because, or whatever, but if you guys remember in the original Watch Dogs, there's a big plot point about a woman named Rose Washington. T-Bone seems to react that he knew her. This DLC, she was the one that was killed by Mayor Rushmore. Like, that was sort of the whole thing which set off the entire first game. It's a long story, but yeah, like, it's a thing. This DLC, they add a lot onto that to try and prove not only how T-Bone knows her, but what she brings and what she adds to the DLC. She does actually matter quite a lot to the overall story when you really stop and look at it. And how do you find out about this? Audio logs. They're scattered all over the place, and they are a lot of fun to find because they really do give you some interesting backstory, some interesting character notes. Things you may not have known or really thought you needed to know, but then when you play Watch Dogs again, it adds so much more. And I've been talking non-stop about the character T-Bone. Well, here's the thing. Is he likable? He's the exact same as he was in the original Watch Dogs. Of course he's likable. And that's one thing which I kind of think they should have done better with Aiden Pearce, is he has a personality. He has a very grumpy, angered, but at the same time laid back and explosive personality. Frewer is a much better character now. You start to see how, like, what made him the way he was, how he and Ray have this weird relationship, sort of like the weird kind of bromance that I've had with people where it's like, you hate them, but you really care for them, and you're there to help them, even though it might get you killed. I've been there. It's interesting to see these characters change over this, like, 3-hour DLC. They do change a lot, pretty much as you would see in a feature-length game.
So you gonna tell me what you did to piss off the fixers?
Me? This is on you. I'm still running from your mess. I have been ever since you and Rose decided to blow whistles at Bloom. I had a good life, Ray.
You sure fooled me. We had to walk around on eggshells because you were such a head case.
Well, Rose is dead now, and your little tantrum in 2003. How many people died? Yeah. And I'm the head case.
You little shit.
I'm sorry, I didn't...
All right, Ray. I followed him to an old mansion. Here, I'll mark it for you. Man, this place is huge and creepy. I am definitely not walking into that death trap.
I'm not gonna push you. You've done more than enough.
I'm headed back to the silo. Don't get yourself killed.
I won't.
Or tortured.
Don't worry about it.
Ray, this is a really terrible idea. Maybe we can find another lead.
Don't worry about it. We'll talk soon, my friend.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Listen, the silo's been compromised, so I gotta be ready for a fight.
You mean we?
I got enough blood in my hands, Frewer. I've been fighting tooth and claw for years. I do need your help, man, but I don't expect it.
You didn't bail on me, I'm not bailing on you.
That your chemical courage speaking?
Nope. I'm done. I threw those in the garbage. I'll hide out until you're back at the silo.
Let's talk about acting. See, John Tench, as I mentioned, I've met him before. He's a great guy. He is a really nice guy in real life. In fact, the entire Watch Dogs 2 cast are the ones I've met so far. They're really nice. Now here's the thing. Well, Aiden Pearce was a very cut-and-dry, gravelly-voiced character who is very focused on a mission. T-Bone has a very, like I said, explosive personality, and John Tench sells it. He not only sells him on the whole grumpy but really creative, explosive character, but also in the really emotional moments, the scenes where he has to get angry or when he has to face his past. There's a lot of actual pain you clearly see both in the motion capture and in his voice. And John Tench delivers a fantastic performance. Frewer, again, he plays the paranoid, maybe schizophrenic, I'm not sure. Like, he plays the really paranoid, frightened by everything character really well. The guy who plays Default is incredibly creepy. All the actors in this are phenomenal.
What is this?
I looked, and there before me was a pale horse. Its rider was named Raymond fucking Kenny. And death followed behind him. Fathers, mothers, husbands, wives, brothers. Did it make you feel powerful, Ray?
Now, with that all said, there pretty much has to be something not that good about this. There has to be something for me to complain about. And yes, I'm about to get very technical. This is actually something that normally I wouldn't do, but since I'm doing a video game review, let's talk about it. Character models. Not graphics, not the quality, not the look, the actual character models. Their movements, their way they fight, the way they shoot. They just recycled it and put T-Bone over Aiden Pierce. Aside from his melee takedown, because now you have a wrench, which is actually so helpful because you can use it to take down the enforcers in one shot. Yes, that does leave you wide open, and it can be quite annoying how other enemies can shoot you if you're trying to take one down and then you get seen halfway through. But still, it's at least helpful. It's another good mechanic. But they look, run, move, shoot, jump, roll, drive, even take out their phone and put it back the exact same way as each other. Is that kind of lazy? Yeah, they're just recycling the used footage. But you know what? If it works, why not? And it does work, I'll give them that. The game looks very nice. The graphics are still great. They put a whole lot of detail into T-Bone's clothing, as where Aiden Pierce's, he just had sort of one large overcoat. With T-Bone, with his jacket, you can see all the lines, you can see all the fibers on the side, you can see all the things on his backpack, you can see all that detail. They went to a lot of trouble for it. So graphically, while a lot of the character models are reused and recycled, they still look quite nice. It still looks like a high-quality game. There are very, 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 very few glitches, and the few that there are either so brief that I couldn't capture them or I just didn't notice. It plays smoothly, it runs just fine, and the music is amazing. I'd love to play some for you, but I don't want to get copyright strikes or anything. The soundtrack is phenomenal. The score is awesome. I really wish they would release it on iTunes or on CD or something. Yeah, what else is there for me to talk about? I'm just checking something real quick. So talked about the story, talked about the characters, the models, driving, the shooting. Yeah, I've pretty much covered everything. So when it comes down to it, guys, you don't even have to ask if I can recommend Bad Blood. I totally recommend it. And now here's the good thing. I'm just checking this real quick. See, you can buy Bad Blood as its own thing. You can buy it as DLC for Watch Dogs. So you can buy the game for about $20 on the PlayStation Store. You can buy Watch Dogs. Now, you could buy it a lot cheaper at a used video game store. And here's the thing. You could buy Bad Blood for $15. But for $5 more, you can buy the Season Pass. It is a lot better you buy the Season's Pass because you then get Bad Blood, which is $15, which is totally worth the $15 on its own, but you also get $25 worth of outfits, bonus missions for Aiden Pierce, extra weapons. You get essentially $35 of content for $20, on top of about $10 at the most used game. It is worth it if you just buy the Season's Pass, and I'm pretty sure it's cheaper if you're buying it for the PS3 or Xbox 360. So even if you're not a huge fan of the original Watch Dogs, still give Bad Blood a try if you can. It is better than Watch Dogs, which is amazing. And Ubisoft, if you're moving forward, please make more. I know you're done making DLC for Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2, I'll cover that later, but if you're gonna make Watch Dogs 3, you gotta keep going with what you got. So yeah, guys, if you get the chance, play Watch Dogs Bad Blood. It is amazing. It's better than the game itself. It's better than Watch Dogs itself. And we have just started Watch Dogs Month, you guys, so come back soon, because I'm going to have more. Until next time, this is the Meteor Raptor saying, as always, keep cool, and I will see all you dino dudes around. Later.